Hey everybody, Steve here. I've got a small project that I take care of today in the 2018 Grand Design Solitude fifth wheel trailer. I had noticed this past winter while the trailer was parked in the yard, I started to hear a beeping noise, the typical warning noise you would hear from like a smoke detector every 30 seconds, that kind of thing. And it turned out to be coming from the propane leak detector. Now, on this model, and many of these other fifth wheels, the manufacturer chooses to install a combination propane and carbon monoxide leak detector. So it's one unit that does both jobs. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to replace this, which is going to be a little bit different, and explain to you exactly why I chose to do it the way I'm going to do it. We're looking at the very rear of the unit and the trailer, and that's where the noise seemed to be coming from. Where the detector is located on this trailer is right down here underneath this desk area. So I actually already unscrewed the unit. So by design, these units have no serviceable parts and they have no replaceable battery inside. The way they work is they actually are powered off of the 12-volt supply in the trailer. They have certain types of components inside that have to do with the sensing of the propane that actually go bad after several years. And that's why these units have a built-in system that monitors how many hours they've been on and actually will sound an end-of-life alarm to let you know that it's time to replace the unit. The units tend to be hardwired in. It's simply a matter of removing one or two screws, gently pulling out the wiring to a point where you can get to the wires to cut them. I've already cut the red wire, which is the 12-volt positive wire, so that I didn't have to hear the alarm any longer. Don't need a lot of tools for this job. Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screws that mount the unit, wire strippers and crimpers. This is a combination unit here that has crimpers, strippers, and even cutters, but I prefer some diagonal cutters like this style here. And we're going to need a couple of crimp connectors for splicing the wires on the new unit to the trailer wiring. You can get this style right here, which is pretty simple, easy to use, or you can use this style. It's more like a butt type connector. These are readily available at most auto parts stores. You just want to make sure that it's for the proper gauge wire that we're dealing with. So back to the matter at hand, finishing removing the old unit. Just going to cut the other wire. You want to make sure that your wires don't fall inside. Depending on the situation, you might have a situation where the wires could end up getting pulled back in through the hole, and that's just going to make a headache for you. You can actually see where they've spliced into the trailer wiring with a couple of those crimp connectors similar to the type I just showed you. So I'm just going to pull these out just to show you that this is what's going on in there. But they're also splicing in other wires with these. So if I were to cut these, then I'm going to have to bring these all together. So I'm just going to cut them here like this. I'm going to end up with longer wiring than I need, but there's plenty of room behind this panel for me to stuff it back through the hole, so I'm not going to worry about it. So let's talk about what I'm going to do that's different. So here's the old unit. It's a Safety Alert brand model that is a combination RV carbon monoxide / propane gas alarm. Now, this unit goes bad over time, like I mentioned. This trailer is a 2018. We bought it used last year. And when I took this unit out, looked at the back, September 26, 2017 is the date that this unit was manufactured. And then it took a while for it to make its way through the warehouse and the supply chain and be installed in the trailer, and then the trailer sold. So that coincides with the about 5-year lifespan of these things, even though it's already 2023. Anyways, this unit is readily available online. If you'd like to order another combination unit identical to this one, please use the link provided in the description. The new unit might be slightly different, but it's pretty much the same exact function. And they average around $75 to $80 for a replacement unit. But then I noticed that there were some units that were much cheaper, and I was wondering what was different, and then I realized what was different was that the other units I was looking at were strictly propane gas alarms. They weren't these combination units. But I realized that carbon monoxide detectors, there's nothing unique about them as far as RV versus residential use, and they tend to be used, they tend to have internal batteries that have like a 10-year lifespan. The point is, these units go bad in about 5 years, but a standalone carbon monoxide detector can last you 10 years. Not only that, but this little guy we were able to purchase off of Amazon for $33 with free Prime shipping. So this is strictly a propane gas detector. Just to give you an idea of the difference in physical size, the footprint is almost the same, but it's a lot thinner. So this will take care of the propane gas detection requirement for the trailer. But now I need something to cover the carbon monoxide. And then for about $18 on Amazon with free shipping, I found this carbon monoxide monitor. And then I noticed that for like $34, save a couple bucks, you could get a 2-pack. So I opted for the 2-pack. So I'll use one here in the trailer, and now I'll have an extra one I can use somewhere in the house. So you can see, for less than the cost of one of these units, I was able to get one of these units and 2 of these units. Over time, it should continue to save me money, because when this reaches its end of life and fails, this should still be working and have life left. So depending on the surface you're going to be mounting it to, they give you several different options here. They actually also give you these wire nuts that you can use to splice into the old wiring, but I prefer the solid, more secure connection of the crimp connectors that I'm going to use, especially when you're going to be going down the road and things are bouncing around. So these little green inserts here, these are like drywall inserts. That would be if you were going into like the wallboard. That would be good if you were going into like the wallboard here. But I'm going to be going back in to the little side kick panel right here, and the spacing of the 2 existing holes is not going to be the same for the new unit. So I'll be able to use one of the 2 original screw holes, and then I'll reposition the other one. This is not a template that they give you in this little instruction sheet. This is just a diagram that's supposed to show you the centerline distance between the 2 screws. And they don't even bother telling you what it is in English measure, in inches. It's in metric, 68 millimeters. So I'm warning you now, if you think you're going to use that as a template to position your screw holes, you could forget about it, because that's not the actual distance between the screw holes on the unit itself. Guess how I found that out? It also comes with this little two-sided pad, sticky pad, and you just pop out these little perforated cutouts. There's a hole for the wires to go through. It's off center, so you can't put this any old way. You're gonna make sure you put it on correctly. So I just peel off the side that sticks onto here and put this on. Now with the wires fed through, I can reattach the wires and feed the whole thing in there, just rip the paper off and stick it onto the screws. So before I strip this black wire, since I've already got this wire stripped, I'm going to attach the black wire. That way I don't have to worry about the 2 stripped wires touching each other accidentally, because this is still live. I haven't shut off the power to the trailer. And that little beep just means that this just powered up. Okay. I don't want to snug these up all the way just yet. I'm going to test fit this on here. Once I'm satisfied that my screws are in the right position, and that I've got them screwed in far enough so that I can clip this on and it feels pretty firm. Now I'll just pull this peel and stick backing off. Tear it from around the wires. Now I just need to find a spot to put the new CO detector. I could mount it right next to this, but I'm actually going to check the instructions on the carbon monoxide detector, because one of the most popular types of detectors you can buy is a combination smoke and carbon monoxide detector, and those are commonly mounted high up on ceilings. So that makes me wonder if maybe the more optimal position for a carbon monoxide detector is higher up and not down here by the floor like a propane detector. Propane detectors always tend to be down near the floor, which makes me think that, well, propane must be a gas that tends to settle near the floor. Well, just as I suspected, the recommended mounting location for this carbon monoxide detector is actually on the ceiling or on a wall, provided that it's at least 10 centimeters down from the intersection of the wall and the ceiling, and no more than 31.5 centimeters down from the intersection of the wall and the ceiling. In other words, they're basically saying best place to mount this is on the ceiling. Second best place to mount it is high on the wall, but not too high, because that little corner there where the ceiling meets the wall, there's a little triangle area in there that they call dead air space, where because of convection currents or for whatever reason they figured out that that air doesn't really move as much. But the point is, mounting this down near the floor is not recommended by the manufacturer, which begs the question, why do RV manufacturers put these combination units like the one I just replaced so close to the floor? Doesn't make much sense. Our previous fifth wheel was a Forest River Sierra, and that one had the same kind of combination unit like I just replaced, combination propane carbon monoxide, and that one was also mounted really low right down near the floor. So must be just something that the RV manufacturers aren't paying attention to. I mean, I understand why they're not mounting them where they should be mounted, because it kind of, like, the missus was just in here and we were talking about, well, where should we put it? And it seems like everywhere we'd like to put it is probably not the best place to put it as far as making sure it works. But it is a safety device, so we want to put it in a place where it's going to actually do something. So what we settled for is this area right above the door, only a little bit to the right. Figured if we put it right here, it would be really conspicuous, and it would be a little bit more inconspicuous if we put it a little bit over here. This is about 12 inches or more down, so that's more than 10.5 centimeters down from that intersection, like it should be. And so I think right there is gonna work for us. In case you were wondering what it looks like, this is basically what the unit looks like. It's pretty compact. It actually does have two AA batteries for power, and it was provided with new batteries, but of course they're the really cheapy ones. So obviously this unit was made so you can replace the batteries in it. I know many of the combination smoke detector carbon monoxide detectors that they sell on the market today, they do not have a replaceable battery. They have what they call like a 10-year battery inside of them, and the idea is that after 10 years you just replace the whole unit. The thinking being that once the unit's 10 years old, chances are it's got other issues that are causing it to not be very dependable anyways. On the other hand, this is the paperwork, the only paperwork that came with this unit. And it doesn't have anything about the screws. Clearly, you've got to put two screws. They give you screws and wall anchors, but they don't tell you where what the spacing is right here. In fact, they also don't even tell you in the instructions where to mount it. But on the box, on the outside of the box, they give this little diagram here, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. So this little plastic plate actually unclips from the back of the unit, so you could use this almost as a template or a guide once you've located one screw hole. Word of warning, if you're putting this into the exterior wall of your trailer, you might run into a stud, which is what was right here. So this hole was a little bit more difficult to drill, but I was able to drill into it. That actually worked out for me because that screw is tightening a whole lot tighter than this one. So this one's only going into this thin fiber board or whatever the heck this material is that they use. But what's great about that being tight is that I don't really have to worry about the possibility of this bouncing off going down the road. There we go. And one last little bit of business before we call this project done. Well, here comes the boss.